Hello, ladies. Happy Thursday. It is not Thursday, it's Wednesday. Getting my days all mixed up with Memorial Day being just a few days ago. Want to make sure that I am streaming this live into the group. So give me just 1 second here. All right, that looks good to go. All right, ladies. So, how is everyone doing tonight? So excited for each of you that are here. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. I know that many of you have been gaining weight during menopause. I hear that quite a bit when I'm talking to you, lovely ladies. And so I am really excited to bring some really great information to you tonight about how to deal with weight gain during menopause. So if you are excited about learning about weight gain in menopause and what to do about it, drop me a one in the chat so I know who's joining me and that you're out there with me live. So I know, again, that many of you are struggling with weight loss. I know that many of you feel like everything I do is not working. I can't lose an ounce no matter what I do, what I try, what kind of thing that I go after. So I really want to break this down for you tonight and give you some really practical tips that by the end, you can go ahead and get started with today, ladies. I know it is later in the day, does not mean that we can't make some really good adjustments even today. So, a lot of women tell me all about how their hormones are jacked up and they just don't feel like themselves. So, let's get started talking about weight loss in menopause and how we can actually make that happen. So, I know that you're in the right place because today I'm going to break down super simple steps to help you feel like yourself again and actually lose weight in menopause. So, super excited about that. So I am going to see if I can see okay. Um, if you wouldn't mind, so when I use a service called StreamYard when I do these videos, and it doesn't always tell me the name of the person who is making comments. So if you have the ability to go ahead and give StreamYard permission to use your name, fantastic. If you are okay and you want to just put your name in the comment, that's helpful for me, just so I know who's live with me here. I can see them after the fact, but technology is great. If you know me, you know I'm really know enough about technology to be dangerous, but not quite all the ins and outs of it. So still trying to get used to all of this. So if you are watching me live, I would love to know that. So hashtag live if you are here joining me live. If you are catching me on a replay or a recording, love to know hashtag replay. And of course, I always love to know where you are tuning in from and yeah, how far our reach is. So thanks so much, guys. All right. So my goal with this training is to help a few different kinds of people. So I want you to kind of tell me which of these categories you fall into. So give me a one, a two, or a three in the chat. So number one, if you are a woman over 40 struggling with weight gain or belly fat, I'm going to show you how to say goodbye to diets and hello to a simple nutrition roadmap. I'll explain how to nourish your body the right way and achieve lasting results. So that's my number one choice. Number two, maybe you have tried everything under the sun, but you're still battling weight and fatigue. Don't worry, because I have you covered. And I'm going to show you how to put the nutrition roadmap to work for you in simple, easy steps and really understand what your unique body needs, not just what everyone else is doing, right? Number three is perhaps you're new to menopause. You're like, I don't even know what's going on with my body. I think crazy things are happening. I have just all these weird symptoms going on, don't really understand. If that's you, that's awesome that you're here learning and really trying to understand what's going on with your body because every single one of you are at a different stage and a different place in your menopause journey. There are so many things that we can talk about and we can work on no matter the stage. So, whether it's perimenopause, in the early stages of menopause, during menopause, or postmenopause, there are things that we can work on and do to help with the weight loss. Everyone is unique and at a different stage, but we all are trying to achieve the same thing, right? Improved health, feeling better, more vitality, feeling great. And so we really want to help you achieve that. And so my custom nutrition roadmap is customizable for each one of you ladies. Does not matter where you're at in those stages. So let's get started here. Let me move up to my next slide. So who is this for? We just talked about those three different categories. If you're just jumping on, let me know if you are someone who's been experiencing menopause for a little while, if you are kind of in menopause but have been trying to some different things and not really sure kind of where to go. And number 3 is if you are brand new to menopause, drop a 3 in the chat for me. All right, ladies. So who's ready to learn how to unlock the secrets and discover the effortless path to shedding pounds during menopause? No calorie counting required. I know that last part is pretty exciting, right? When we're talking about losing weight, not having to weigh and track and measure and log and do all of these things when it comes to calorie counting, super exciting. I cannot wait to share some information with you about why calorie counting really isn't the way to go and isn't really effective long term. So let's talk about what we're going to be talking about today. Let's talk about a little bit of an agenda. So we're going to take a look at that number one mistake that most women make when it comes to weight loss in menopause. I'm going to show you what the number one thing is that you really need to be doing right now to develop a nutrition plan that lets you live the life that you desire. I'm pretty sure that's pretty exciting for most of you. And next, I'm going to share with you why you can actually lose weight in menopause. I know that many of you have heard that that is simply not possible. I am here to tell you that it absolutely is. I have clients that are losing weight, feeling great, getting more energy, all of those things. So when you hear somebody say that it's too late in menopause to lose weight, I want you to look at them and very seriously say, I don't believe that, because it's simply not true. If you stick around to the end, and I'm hoping that you do, we're going to spend about 30 or so minutes together tonight. If you stick around to the end, I have this really cool Jumpstart Your Weight Loss and Menopause roadmap to help you get started today. So it's going to be really great to get you in that mindset and in that direction of weight loss and not just thinking about it, right? We're going to take some action steps to actually make it happen. Why do I know that this roadmap is going to help you get started? Because I will help you right from the beginning. And we're going to rethink how we've been showing up or maybe not showing up for ourselves. It'll help you clearly see where you're stuck in taking care of yourself and why you may not be getting the results that you are looking for. It'll help increase your motivation and your accountability to you. Because quite honestly, ladies, that's what matters, right? That we show up for ourselves and that we do the things that we say we're going to do in order to get the results that we're looking for. So the tips are easy and achievable. I am not about difficult. I am about challenging you, yes, but not about everything being difficult and hard. No fancy, hard to find, equipment needed, no scales, no measuring cups, none of that kind of stuff. Really simply you and your own schedule and things that you already have in your area, in your home, that you can go ahead and use in order to get started with what we're going to talk about. So who am I? Some of you are new to the group. Some of you have been here for a while, and I would love to know where you're at in this journey. I would love to hear more about what's going on, what's working for you, what's not working for you. A lot of you are new to the group, though. We have over 720 people in the group now, 720 women looking to make changes in their menopause journey, challenging themselves to get better, challenging themselves to get healthier, challenging themselves to feel the best they have felt in a very, very long time. So I'm super excited to have each of you here and sharing in that journey together. So I want to spend just a few minutes. This is not about me. I want to spend most of our time talking about how this can be beneficial for you. But I do feel like it's important to give you a little bit of background so you know that you can feel comfortable sharing your information with me, because I've been there, ladies. I am 52 years old. I'm in perimenopause myself. I have successfully lost 50 pounds and kept that off, but I battle my own menopause journey right along with you. So the sugar cravings, the feeling not worthy enough, feeling like I have mood swings, feeling like I'm not sleeping. I've experienced that, so I know what that looks like from a firsthand, experience. So I can share with you not only that professional understanding, but also that personal understanding too, which in my mind makes it a lot easier to have the conversation and really feel heard and feel understood because you know that I've been there as well. I know that many of you can relate to what I just shared. It's important that we recognize that we all face similar battles. Even wealth doesn't automatically equate to good health. And fame certainly doesn't absolve us from the responsibility of taking care of our own health. If you think about Oprah, she's had her own battle. She's been talking a ton about menopause lately, but she is probably one of the wealthiest women out there and still struggles because it's not just about having the money to take care of what's going on. We have to make that commitment to ourselves physically and emotionally to be able to achieve what we're looking to achieve. As women, our bodies and nutrient needs are very, very individualized, and we need to emphasize that significance of developing a plan that works for us, not for the masses, but for us. So let's talk for a minute about Tammy. She's a current client of mine. And she really enjoys the kind of back and forth conversation that we have. She's able to really come up with her own plan and really dive into what's going to work for her. So it's not me giving her things all of the time. I have plenty of resources to share to kind of get her started. I have tools and tips and things like that that I can share with her. And we certainly talk about that. But really, what's empowering about the menopause breakthrough method is really helping her and helping people just like you to see where that you have that inside of you, and we need to bring that out. We need to bring out your ability to lose the weight and maintain that weight loss. So in the process of working with me, she's losing weight, feeling less joint pain, feeling like herself again. And that's different for everyone, but sometimes it don't we all just look at each other and be like, I used to feel like that. I used to have energy. I used to feel like I wanted to take part in social gatherings. I used to feel like I wanted to get out of bed and I jumped out of bed. I had that much energy. I want to feel like that again. She's also stopped beating herself up for the food choices that she makes. And we will definitely talk about the guilt and shame that can go along with food because it is definitely something that people struggle with in a very big way. So, what is the number one mistake? I promise that we talk about this. The number one mistake that most women make when it comes to long term weight loss and menopause. So, a lot of times it's just like this picture is showing, right? We assume that it's a very straight line, that it's just we make the decision to lose weight and we're going to lose weight and that's it. And whether we like it or not, most of the times when we're challenging ourselves with something new and different, success can be kind of messy. Doesn't mean that we don't still get to that successful place, but it can get a little messy on the way there. So, how do we get there and changing up our nutrition and really making an impact to our weight loss and our goals when it comes to our weight? We have to focus on the physical and the emotional health. We can't do one without the other. And let's talk about why. So, the physical and the emotional are very much interchangeable or enmeshed, I like to say. So, they're kind of like a spider web. We'll talk about that in a minute. We have to focus on both of them. And if we take Heidi, for example, she told me that when she eats more in tune with her body, she has less obsessive or anxious thoughts, and her depression is better. So, in addition to her depression feeling better, she's emotionally feeling better. She also had the physical effect of her hemoglobin A1C, which is a 3-month test that it tells you how well your blood sugars are managed or controlled. That number actually decreased. So she had the physical effect of blood sugar improving. She does have type 2 diabetes. She had the emotional effect of depression decreasing, feeling better emotionally. And so that was allowing her weight loss to happen because she was looking at how she was reacting to that food, how she was emotionally feeling about that food. So it's very much like that spider web that I talked about. If we can picture a spider web and all of the interconnectedness of that spider web, and really where our physical and our emotional health go together and really make this beautiful kind of picture or this weave in our lives. If either one of them is out of sync, we don't have the steadiness, we don't have the same ease and flow with food choices, with our sleep, with our stress management, and that kind of a thing. So we have to be on board both physically and emotionally in order for those things to work, in order for weight loss to be easy, and for us to show up for ourselves in a much easier way on a daily basis. So we really want to look at our physical and our emotional health. And the great thing is, with me, I'm a dietitian as well as a therapist. And so we go there a lot, right? We talk about that emotional health. A lot of people aren't comfortable talking about it as providers because we're not sure what to do with it, right? When people share that information, we're not sure what to do with that information. So the nice thing is, when we talk about it, we're going to talk about how that emotion, that depression, that anxiety, that stress affects food choices. And then we're going to work on some strategies to help you move through that and really make a difference, an impact, a positive impact on your weight loss journey. So menopause definitely causes our hormones to fluctuate. I know that's not a news flash. That is something that is very, very in your face when you're in menopause. You know that there's hormone fluctuations. You know that estrogen levels are dropping. And so with that comes a lot of different things. We have an increase in fat storage. Not really our favorite part, right? We have more weight gain. We particularly have more weight gain around the abdomen. So we have more belly fat. So if you are a person who struggles with belly fat, this is definitely for you. By focusing on our physical health through exercise and balancing out our meals, we can counteract these effects of that decrease in estrogen and those hormone fluctuations and manage weight more effectively. Can't really argue with the science behind that, right? Because that is just simply what our body is doing. Menopause also affects our emotional well being by bringing some emotional and psychological changes. So, when we have those hormone fluctuations, those wonderful changes in estrogen and some other hormones in our bodies, that can contribute to mood swings, irritability, and anxiety. So, we have the physical effects and we have the emotional effects. How many of you experience anxiety, depression, or stress? Drop a 3 in the chat if that is something that you struggle with on a daily basis, on a routine basis. It doesn't have to be all of the time, but we can definitely have this sort of up and down with it, right? And I think that if we expect ourselves to be happy 100% of the time, it's probably not realistic. But I do think that we can improve our emotional health and mindset if we are, you know, focused on it, if we're aware of some things that help to increase it and make us feel better, and if we also are aware of some things that cause us to feel that, more anxious, more kind of down period of time. I always say when it comes to any sort of emotional health, we have to be on the lookout for prevention. Treatment is great. There's definitely lots of things that we can do for treatment. But when we're preventing those things, then we are much more aware of how our body is reacting to the outside world. And we can make those changes before we're dealing with that panic attack or before we're really struggling with, some big emotional upheaval and that kind of thing. So I see a lot of 3s in the chat. So I know that I'm talking to, the people that are feeling this as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. So when we talk about guilt associated with food, drop a 1 in the chat if you have ever felt guilty about something that you've eaten. Little fun fact, little pro tip: guilt is not a motivator, ladies. So if guilt is your way of knowing when you need to make changes to what you're eating, it's not a motivator in a long-term sustainable way. It may make you have a different outcome for that particular day, but so many times it's not something that is sustainable. It's not something that keeps us moving forward. It actually just causes that anxiety and that depression to be even worse. So it's not something that helps us to continue to move forward. So how many times have you said this to yourself? How many times have you said, I'm so lazy. I have no willpower. I give up. Never going to be able to do this. I am such a failure. I can't do this. How many of you have said that? Drop me in the chat if that is something that any one of those things or something similar that you've said to yourself. So Emily was doing that. She'd wake up every morning, and before her feet even hit the floor, she was telling herself how stupid, how lazy, and how fat and out of shape she was. No wonder she was irritable the minute her eyes opened. She felt defeated and irritable already and depressed most of the day. Not to mention the fact that she had zero interest in having sex with her husband at night because she just did not like her body. She did not like anything about, her experience with her body was not a very positive one. The cold, hard fact is that most of us are telling ourselves these things in one way or another on a pretty routine basis. So we really want to, words definitely matter. How we're showing up for ourselves, what we're telling ourselves makes a big difference. When we label foods and our actions as good or bad, it means that we're establishing what I like to call a moral identity with food. We're giving food more power than it actually deserves. Food is neither good or bad. It's simply energy for our bodies. It is fuel for our bodies. Where we go off the rails, so to speak, is when we give food so much power that it takes away our energy to be able to do the things that we want to do, to be able to spend time with family and friends, to be productive in something that we're trying to, maybe at work or something that we're trying to do, to have the energy to exercise, to have the energy to meal plan. It takes us away from that. And it's like having a baseball bat in our hands and repeatedly beating ourselves with it. I know that's a little maybe dramatic or kind of over the top, but I want you to think about how strong those words are when we're telling ourselves over and over and over again how fat we are, how lazy we are, how we lack willpower, how we lack the ability. We're continuously beating ourselves up when it comes to that emotional piece. So the goal of weight loss, of looking at all of these things, is to make sure that you are nourished in the best possible way. So another example, Carol used to wake up in the morning and she'd have one egg and one piece of toast for breakfast. She'd have what she considered to be a sensible lunch. She'd have a salad. And then for dinner, she'd have kind of your, chicken, broccoli, baked potato type meal, right? So something that's very sensible, very healthy. After her husband would go to bed, she would get out her spoon and her ice cream and her bag of whatever snack she wanted to have. And that was her me time. That was her sort of reward for getting through the day and achieving healthy food through the day, right? She felt so judged by what she was eating and felt so much guilt about the food choices that she was making that she was then sabotaging what she was trying to do in the evening as soon as she had sort of that quiet time. The hard part is that she was really beating herself up. She was the one that was judging what food choices she was making. And she was in this kind of, I call it a hamster wheel of guilt and shame when it comes to the food, right? So she was physically hungry. She wasn't feeding her body through the day like she wanted to, like her body was asking for. And then she was emotionally beating herself up. And there's no amount of calorie counting that was going to help Carol to achieve the weight loss that she wanted to achieve. Counting calories doesn't make you put the baseball bat down. It doesn't make you feel better and less guilt and less shame about those food choices. So we have to take a look at it as nourishment, as energy, as nutrient dense foods that we're filling our bodies with so that we can feel better physically and emotionally to get the results that we're looking for. Drop a now in the chat if you're with me, if this makes sense. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those as well as we're going through this. I can't see who's asking the question, but I can see the question. So, how many of you have heard this statement before? You're in menopause, so you're just going to have to live with the weight gain. It's just part of the transition. It's just part of kind of what you've been experiencing, right? What you're supposed to experience at this stage of life. Why are you so worried about the weight? You're old anyways, you're not going to have any more kids, whatever the blah 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 is that they fill it in with, right? And so it kind of takes away from us. We're wanting to feel better. We're wanting to lose weight. We're wanting to increase that energy. And what we're hearing is it doesn't really matter. And that's just simply not true. It's not, it's really, I feel like it can kind of stop people's progress right there because they just lose hope, right? So there are many people that have heard that from doctors, from loved ones, from neighbors, from friends, from other people. And I truly believe that sometimes people say that as a way of like, it's okay, don't beat yourself up over it. Unfortunately, it's not really helpful because it doesn't help us to achieve what we're looking to achieve. So when I developed the menopause breakthrough method program, the group program, it's because I had talked to a lot of women just like you that were frustrated, depressed, overwhelmed, just over it, right? Just over feeling the way that they've been feeling. And I kept hearing people say, I just want to feel better. I just want to lose weight. I just want somebody to take me seriously. And so it became this kind of, mission that I had to help women to get through this transition in a much healthier way. So drop a me in the chat if you've ever been stressed out, angry, sad, depressed when it comes to menopause and weight gain. I'm pretty sure that's why you're here. So I started looking for a better solution. When I heard specifically somebody say that they wanted to be able to, pick up their grandson's toys off the floor and not feel like they just run a mile in order to do that, right? And feeling exhausted just from picking a toy up off the floor. So we shouldn't have to argue with that. We shouldn't have to beg for that. We shouldn't have to you know, act like that doesn't matter. And so it's something where I felt really compelled that I really wanted to help women in that stage to move forward as easily as possible. I wanted to develop something that was more individualized, more customized, and wasn't just your another kind of quick fix weight loss type of a thing. Every one of you is in menopause in some stage, but that doesn't mean that we all are experiencing the same obstacles and struggles when it comes to weight gain. So we have to have a customizable solution. So what happens when we develop an individualized plan, such as the menopause breakthrough method? I have clients that are losing 10, 15, 24 pounds in the first few months of working together, experiencing way less sugar cravings, learning about what nutrition their bodies need, really digging into the anxiety and the depression, feeling much less emotional struggle when it comes to the food, saving time and money because they're planning meals. They have less food waste. There's less having to cook multiple times a week. They're actually kind of able to decrease the time that they spend because they're doing it more efficiently. They're preparing those meals more efficiently. And my favorite part is they're becoming increasingly motivated to stick with the changes that we're talking about. Because as they're seeing results, all that does is fuel that fire to want more and more and more, right? So we're in a positive direction. We're moving in that positive direction. We're looking for more and more positive results. So super excited to see that firsthand with the clients that I work with. But they're not getting those results because I'm telling them to. It really has nothing to do with me. It's all about them taking the personal responsibility and committing to making the change and seeing it through. So I cannot express enough how grateful I am to the people that work with me that they take that responsibility and run with it. And the transformations are pretty incredible. How do I know that it works? Because I do this myself every single day. I test the program on myself each and every day, and I'm always looking for better ways to bring this to you so that you can get the same results. So I'm sleeping better, my mood is better. Like I said, I've lost the 50 pounds and kept it off. So I know where you're at and I know where you can be. And every one of you deserves to be where you want to be, wherever that goal is that you have, you all deserve that. So I like to equate it to a three-legged stool. It makes sense to me. So kind of play along with me here for a minute. I also jokingly say in menopause, none of us want to fall off the stool. So we have to make sure that all three of the legs are very sturdy. One of those legs is easy nutrition. The other one is physical well being. Another one is emotional well being. But when we focus on that nutrition and we focus on how do we get to the ability to have nutrition be easy, one of the first things we have to do is clean up what I call poopy thoughts about nutrition. All of the things that we have experienced that were quick fixes, that didn't work, that were, kind of short term strategies, and maybe they worked for a short time, and maybe they worked at a different time in our lives. But let's be honest, ladies, we are in menopause. We are in a different body, and our challenges are different than they were in our 20s. That does not mean that weight loss is impossible. It just means we have to honor the changes that our body is going through, right? So we want to make sure that we're dealing with it from a more realistic perspective. And we're taking into consideration where our bodies are hormonally, physically, emotionally, and so on. Other programs will give you a bunch of rules, different things that you have to follow, and restrictions and things like that. I'm really not into that because here's the thing: anytime that life changes, there's transitions. We have to be able to flow with the transition, right? If we get stuck every time that life happens, oh my goodness, ladies, we'd be stuck every single day, which I think is where a lot of you are finding yourselves right now. So, how do we adjust a plan if somebody else is always telling us what to do? So let's talk a little bit about weight loss just for a couple minutes as we finish up tonight and how an interruption in our day is throwing you off mentally and physically. So Irene is a client. She is a busy grandma of two kids. She works part-time and she helps to take care of the kids while the parents are working. So she has been learning to, focus on fueling her body. She's lost about 10 pounds, feeling great. And then she went camping with her family. And unfortunately, everybody in the family isn't typically on the same page when it comes to healthier choices, right? You all know what I mean by camping food. So when she was camping, there was a lot of that type of thing around. Higher calorie, different foods than she would normally have at home and that kind of thing, but foods that she enjoyed as well and looked forward to on these camping trips. So she didn't want to miss out. She didn't want to just, not eat these foods. But because we had been working together on her mindset, on the way that she approached food, on her thoughts about food, and how her body reacts to that food, she didn't feel stuck in the food choices that she was making. It wasn't that she couldn't eat the foods as they sat around the campfire and made s'mores. It was that she was more mindful of how she would feel when she did. She certainly had the ice cream. She had the s'mores. She had, the macaroni salad because that's what she wanted. But she was also very mindful of what she put with that and how she navigated her day in order to experience that food and still feel great and still continue to lose weight. And I can tell you she still is losing weight despite going camping every other weekend. She wanted to not have to sit in the corner with her diet salad and her sliver of brownie and not eat what everyone else was doing, was what everyone else was eating. So how can you get started utilizing the weight loss strategies that I'm talking about for your own day? Drop a 3 in the chat if you want to hear my 3 tips on how you can start right now. I'll give you just a second to drop some 3s in the chat. Cannot wait to share these tips with you. All right. So the number one tip that I have for you, thanks so much for commenting, is to add a fruit or a vegetable to your day. I know you're thinking, how is that going to help me to lose weight? How that helps is we're going to start with small changes and we're going to build on those changes. What we're looking to do is to, effectively start to build that consistency muscle. So if you are lifting weights, if you are walking around the block, you have to start with the first step or the first rep, right? That's what we do with nutrition. We start with that first choice. Adding things in is so much easier for a lot of people especially when we're first getting started than taking away. So if we're adding in a fruit or we're adding a vegetable or maybe we're adding in both, that gives our brain and our body some energy and it allows us to then look forward to, okay, what else can I do? I feel great after I added that salad to my dinner. What else can I do? I added a piece of fruit to a snack. What else can I do? Okay. So we want our bodies to get excited about this. We want to be excited about making the changes nutritionally, both mentally and physically. Second tip, spend 10 hours, sorry, 10 hours. Wow, it is late. 10 minutes really listening to something that's very calming, whether that's music, a meditation. Um, I just heard about green noise yesterday. I don't know if that's a thing, but whatever kind of white noise, green noise, brown noise, whatever color noise, just something that's calming and can really be helpful to bring down the stress and the anxiety. I will assure you that you do not need to empty your mind in order to feel that decrease in stress and anxiety. All you have to do is surround yourself and kind of immerse yourself in um, that music or meditation. It really helps to kind of bring the energy outside of you down, which helps to bring the energy inside of you down and helps calm you down. So, spending 10 minutes listening to some sort of relaxing music or a meditation can really make a difference when we're talking about that anxiety and that stress. The third tip that I have for you is reach out for support. My Facebook community, the one that you are all a part of, is very, very important when it comes to this. We have over 720 women in there looking to achieve the same thing that you're looking to achieve: improved health, decreasing belly fat, better sleep, more sex, decreasing anxiety, all of those things, right? We really want to make sure that we're supporting each other. But what the other thing that we can do in the group is to hold each other accountable. So if you post a question, if you post a goal, if you post a win, you have a lot of other women that can help you navigate that if you're looking for advice on how to move forward, and also to, get you excited and cheer you on if you share a win. So please be active in the group, share ideas, share information. The more it is a community, the more we're back and forth, the more support and encouragement you're going to get. And you never know who's going to benefit from the comment that you make. So really be very alive in the group. And I promise you that that will help you on your journey too. We are not designed as human beings, especially not as women, to go through this alone. So when we start to isolate ourselves and kind of pull back, we feel lonelier and we tend to do less. We have less motivation. So being a part of the Facebook community can really uplift that and get you to a place where you're getting much greater results just simply by sharing that with other people. You have to have a plan. If you know me, you know that I use GPS to get everywhere. Okay. If I don't have GPS on, I'm probably going to get lost. So it's the same thing when we're talking about nutrition. So many times we just sort of expect it to happen, right? We expect to just show up and we're like, okay, I want to lose weight. So it's just going to happen. It's not going to happen if we don't have some sort of a plan. And we really want to make sure that we are focused on that plan and intentional with that plan to get the benefit that we're looking for. We don't want to get lost. We don't want to get sidetracked. We don't want to, just really wish for it. We can definitely have hope for it, but we don't want to just wish it. We want to actually make action steps to make it happen. So I need each and every one of you to commit to the weight loss. If that is something that you are looking to achieve, whatever your goal is when it comes to menopause and where you're at, I need you to commit to seeing that through. Once you commit, ladies, we are strong and we are capable. So once we get something in our heads, we are like a dog with a bone, right? We are ready and we are able. And if the only thing that's stopping you is not having a plan, that's what I can help you with. I am so excited and so honored to be able to help the women that I'm helping. I just want to help more of you because I really know that it works. So once you commit and you are saying yes to yourself, you may be a little bit nervous about doing that, right? I've tried other things and it hasn't worked. I've spent a lot of money on other things and it hasn't worked. How is this going to work for me? It seems to work for other women, doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to work for me. So, why is this different? Because of the fact that we have the community, we have the group that is helping to support and move you forward. You also have me walking with you, helping you to get the results that you're looking for, supporting you, encouraging you, educating you, informing you, really individualizing the program to what it is that you need. And so by improving your health, you're not only able to go to the park with your grandkids and take the stairs instead of the elevator when we're going places, we're also able to prevent things like heart disease and diabetes. And I know many of you struggle with that kind of pre-diabetes insulin resistance place, especially if belly fat is an issue. We really want to move past that, and we want to do what we can to get that weight loss started. So we develop a specific plan, specific to you, specific for you, for lifelong commitment and lifelong solutions. So I am so grateful to each and every one of you that are still hanging with me tonight. I want to share my brand new Jumpstart to weight loss in menopause roadmap. I'd love to share that with you. So if you would be so kind as to drop the word roadmap below for me, I will be sure and get that to you. Um, and let me know what you think. Let me know how that ties into what you're doing. But go ahead and comment the word roadmap. I'll send that over. You can take a look at that, and let's get started today, ladies. You can always go back and watch the replay as well. So remember those 3 tips that we talked about, but let's hit the ground running and let's make the commitment tonight to really, really see this through and get this weight loss journey started. Thank you so much, ladies. Again, it's an honor for me to be here and be able to share this information with you. I'm grateful to you for showing up, for giving me some time this evening and your attention. Thank you so much. I will see you in the group.